So President Donald Trump, we all know, has a notoriously thin skin. He can't handle people calling him, of course, bad things online. And so he is threatening to blow up a defense policy bill unless it destroys the internet as we know it. So now, what am I talking about? Well, apparently, he is wanting in the next NDAA bill, the National Defense Authorization Act, he would want a specific provision removed that would end protections for internet companies and shield them from being held liable for stuff that users post. So now this is Section 230 of the 1996 Communications Decency Act. And so now that protects, like I said, companies from being sued by anybody who happens to be triggered by something someone else has posted, whether or not their complaint is legitimate or not. So now we already have laws against, things like libel and slander. So it would appear that like this is just like extra like vindictive, right? Especially against places like Twitter that have been labeling his false tweets as false. Okay. Now, again, this whole thing is to go against Twitter to hold them accountable for example, if somebody like Nasty Woman 123 decides to post a comment saying that Donald Trump's face looks a lot like a flaccid penis, well, then basically Donald Trump could get all triggered and sue Twitter. Oh, great. And hold them accountable. And on Twitter, by the way, here's what he said about Section 230. Quote, a serious threat to our national security and election integrity. Again, there's no proof of. Therefore, if the very dangerous and unfair Section 230 is not completely terminated as part of the NDAA, I will be forced to unequivocally veto the bill. Oh, no, please. Don't. Please. Don't veto the bill. I would be very sad. Look, I guess for me, it's kind of a win-win, right? Because I actually agree with Section 230. I think it is an important thing for discourse, and I'll explain, of course, why. But I also don't like the NDAA because of some of the nasty things that have been put in it before. For example, in 2012, famously, there were a lot of unconstitutional provisions that were put inside the National Defense Authorization Act, which allowed the government to basically spy in on American citizens or steal people off the street if they were suspected of being terrorists or tied to terrorist organizations. That's American citizens. And so I'm not exactly the biggest fan of the military-industrial complex. So I'm like, oh, you want to veto it? Okay, please do. Yay! Again, win-win, because then I can still say that Donald Trump, his face looks like a flaccid penis. Perfect. But look, like I said, it doesn't make any sense, to hold social media companies accountable for random stuff that users post. That's insane. That's ridiculous. Why is it Twitter's fault if somebody like Jackass 472 or, Douchebag 420 says that my head looks like a penis? Oh, look, I don't care. Do I really want to sue Twitter over that? Is my skin that thin? I'll be like, I damn you, Twitter, for allowing this person to say I look like a dick. I don't give a shit. I don't care. You can say whatever you want online. Now, that said, these companies, they have their own terms of service, and sometimes those are, enforced very unevenly, and I understand that. But these are private corporations, and they're allowed to have those specific terms of service, and they're allowed to do, some kind of moderation. And that's what they do. The thing is, the problem with eliminating 230 would be it would obliterate the internet and speech on the internet. Again, nobody would. Eventually, it would get to a point where nobody would be allowed to post anything. There would be comment sections. There would be, or at the very least, there would be very incredibly heavily handed moderation of these comment sections. So anything that could possibly offend anybody at any time would be immediately removed and sanitized. It would be horrible. It would be awful. And so, look, you wouldn't have Twitter as it exists now. You wouldn't have Facebook as it exists now. You wouldn't have YouTube. Basically, this would create the ultimate safe space cancel culture. It would be a nightmare. Nobody would be able to tell anybody anything online. It'd be horrible. Horrible. Again, and by the way, for Donald Trump, you don't think that if they did get rid of this provision, that Donald Trump's account would be immediately banned? He says offensive things about people multiple times a day. He would be the first to get Twitter sued. And by the way, as he would be suing Twitter. I don't think he realizes that. Maybe he's too stupid. But I don't know. And again, say goodbye to YouTube, say goodbye to Parler. The right-wing creators would go first because they're the most offensive online. But then there goes everyone else. It's all gone. Parler would immediately fold because Parler is basically all they do is spread, anti-Semitic hate and conspiracy theories all the time. They'd be the first to get sued from stuff that their users put online. It would be horrible for anybody online, though. And so the result would be chilling of political speech, right? And that's the major issue here, because then that runs afoul of the First Amendment. Being able to have political speech. We have politicians on Twitter right now. Donald Trump is literally still the president of the United States. We have a First Amendment right to go and be able to redress our grievances towards the government. Whether it be, saying, hey, I hate your tax plan, or I think you're a big fat smelly turd, it's still a redress of grievances, and you have the First Amendment right to be able to do that. That's why there are multiple cases that were ruled against Donald Trump when it comes to blocking and unblocking people on Twitter using the official POTUS account. And so, again, this would run afoul of free speech. Now, I thought Donald Trump wasn't supposed to be in favor of free speech and against cancel culture and against, things like that. Where's Dave Rubin? Dave Rubin, free speech warrior. Why are you not taking Donald Trump to task right now and saying, this is un-American, this is unconstitutional, this is against our freedom of speech? Oh, right, that's right, because Dave Rubin is basically a shill. Dave Rubin is a paid mouthpiece who has no original thoughts of his own. That's what Dave Rubin is. And a lot of these other Republicans are the same thing for not speaking out against this. I actually do believe in free speech. I actually do believe in discourse online, even if it can get, sometimes rather nasty. All you have to do is just look at my comment section. Even for this video, probably somebody's calling me a dickhead. I don't care, literally, because I don't want Twitter to get punished for people being able to say what they want to say online. And again, as long as it doesn't break TOS, well, I mean, that's YouTube's problem, right? Whether or not to figure out if they have broken TOS or not. And so, come on. You gotta let people be able to put comments online and not hold these companies accountable. Again, political opinions, going back to the First Amendment issue, can be offensive. Somebody's going to get offended by that. And social media, again, is where you can reach out to your congressman. Utter disaster. This would be an utter disaster. It would be the destruction of the internet as we know it. And it's all because of Donald Trump being a complete thin-skinned baby and not being able to handle people saying negative things about him. He wants less speech, unless it's in favor of him, of course. And it's just another example of Donald Trump's authoritarian tendencies coming out. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share with your friends. You can subscribe and help out the channel by becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf, or you can become a channel member as well by hitting the join button below.